Forging, subjects of interest. We are okay. Study these introduction and objective, classification of forging process, classification hammer or dropping forging, press forging, open die forging or closed die forging, calculation of forging loads, effect of forging on microstructure, radial stress in forgings, typical forging defects. Okay, one by one. Introduction. After we study classification and calculation of forging loads. In classification, we study in hammering or dropping forging, press forging, open die forging, closed die forging. After we classification, we calculation of forging loads. Effect of forging on microstructure, radials, stresses in a forging and typically forging defects. Okay, so let's start. Objectives in this chapter provide to fundamental of metal working process for forging in order to understand mathematical approaches used the calculation for applied forging loads requirement to cause plastic deformation to give the final product. Classification of metal forging method also provide with description of the defects observed from the forging process. The absolute solution to take such defects will also be addressed. Okay. Introduction. Forging. What is forging? Forging is a working of metal into useful shape by hammering or pressing. See this in picture. This is also forging. Here hammering and here pressing. Okay. But where is here hammering? Here use hammering and here pressing. The forging is a working of metal into a useful shape by hammering or pressing. Forging is a working of metal into a useful shape by hammering or pressing. The oldest of metal working arts, primitive or blacksmith. Replacement of machinery occurred during early the Industrial Revolution. Forging machines are now capable of making parts dragging inside a bolt to a turbine rotor. Use bolt making using forging. Most forging operations are carried out hot, although certain metal may be cold forged. I think forging is more strong than casting. Okay, so forging operation. There are three operations here. This slide: ending, drawing, and piercing and punching. Ending to use shape the ends of the bears and bars and to the greater metals. The metal flow is confined in the horizontal direction, but it is free to flow laterally to fill the die. Drawing is used to reduce the cross-section area of the workspace with concurrent increase in length. Precision and punching are used to produce hole in metal. Piercing and punching, drawing, ending, drawing, and punching, ending, drawing, and punching. Ending is used to shape the ends on the bar and either metal, the metal flow is confined in the horizontal direction, but it is free to flow internally to field or the die. Okay, drawing. It is used to cross-section area. The workpiece concrete increase in length. Okay, and punching. We also know in the produce hole in the metals. Now this slide is fullering. It is used to reduce the cross-section area of the portion of the stroke. The metal flow outward and away from the certain of the fluid. Example, forging of con- contacting rod for the internal combustion engine. Example, forging. This fullering is for the rod of the internal combustion engine. Okay, fuller move fast and move metal perpendicular to the face. Fuller come in defective shape. Forging operation. Sagging is used to produce a bar with a similar smaller diameter. Sagging is a special type of forging in which metal is formed by a suction of repeated hammers blow. Sagging provides a reduced round cross section suitable for taping, threading, upsetting, or other sequential forming and machining operation. Classification of forging process by equipment. Forging, hammering or drop hammer. 2. Press forging by process. Open die forging and closed die forging. Forming machine. Ram anvils. This is no. This is ram and this is anvil. Okay. This is here flywheel, screw, and that is same. Here we round and this blood flow. This is high. Hydraulic press is very useful. But generally we use hydraulic. It's more suitable than flywheel or etc. Okay. See in the table, hydraulics are more, ratio is high, available energy is high, so we use hydraulic press generally. Hammering and press forging process. Forging hammers, board hammers, power hammers, forging press process, mechanically press, hydraulical press, board hammer forging hammer. The upper die and ram are raised by friction rods. Grip the board. After releasing the board, the ram falls and under gravity to produce the blow energy. The hammer can strike between 16 to 150 blows per minute depending on the size and capacity. The board hammer is a generally realistic machine. The blow energy supplied equal the potential energy due to the weight and the height of the fall. Potential energy is equal to mgh. Once more, potential energy is equal to mgh. This energy metal workpiece to produce plastic deformation. Forging hammer or drop hammer. Forging hammer, board hammer, forging hammer or drop hammer. Board hammer, drop hammer. Okay. Provide rapid impact blow surface of the metal. Die are into tool level. Lower fixed to anvil. Upper moves up and down with top. Energy is absorbed onto the metal, in which the maximum impact is on the metal surface. Die are expensive begin accurately. Machined from the special alloy, drop forging is good for mass production of complex shape. Okay, example of forging or of drop hammer. The energy supplied by the below is equal to the potential energy due to the weight ram and the height of the floor. Potential energy is equal to mgh. Here hammer is a greater than capacity in which ram accelerated. The downstroke by the steam air pressure is additional to gravity. Steam or air pressure is also raised the ram upstroke. The total energy supply below in the drop hammer is given by W is equal to 1 by 2 mv square, but the rho is AH, A means G, means rho GH, okay, is equal to mg plus rho H. Hydraulic press forging using hydraulic press or mechanical press to forging the metal through gives continuous forging at a sure rate. Provide dipping, nutrition, better properties, equipment is expensive. Example of hydraulic press forging. Hydraulic press or load resisting machine in which hydraulic press move a piston in a cylinder. The full press load is available any point during the full stroke of the ram. Therefore, hydraulic press are ideally suited for ex- extrusion type forging operation. Due to slow shape speed, contact time is longer at the die material interface, which cause problems such as heat loss from workpiece and die deterioration. Also provide close tolerance forging. Hydraulic press are more expensive than mechanical press and hammer. Mechanical press forging. Crack press translates rotary motion into a reciprocating linearly motion of the press side. The ram stroke is shorter than hammer or hydraulic press. Press are rated on the basis of the force development and of the stroke. The blow press is more like sequence size than like the impact of the hammer. Therefore, dies can be less massive and die life is longer than with a hammer. The total energy supported during the stroke of the press given by W is equal to 1 by 2 I omega 0 square minus omega f square, when I is moment and omega is equal to angular velocity. Omega is 0 original and omega f is equal to after. Typical values velocity deformation of forging. Gravity drop hammering is 3.6 in 4.8. Power drop hammering 3.029. HERF machining, mechanical press and hydraulic press. Velocity range is lower is hydraulic press. Close and open die forging process. When open die forging is like this and B is a closed die forging and C is a impact forging. So we are open die forging is carried out between dies or die of very simple shape. The process is used for mostly large object when the number of parts produced is small. Open die forging is often used to perform the purpose of closed die forging. closed die forging, or impression die forging. The workpiece is defined between two dies halves which carry the impression scene of the desired final shape. The workpiece is deformed under high pressure in a closed cavity normally used for smaller components. The process provides precision forging with low dimension tolerance. Those dies are expensive. Closed die forging operation, billet, pre-shape, rough forging, finish die, trimming die. This is flash line. Okay. Function or flash. Flash is two purpose, acts as a safety valve. Value high pressure is excuse metal and ensure that the metal fields are recesses of the die cavity. Forging lower die, upper die, of flow getter, flash. Okay. Example of die set and forging step of the manufacturing of automobile engineering engine connecting rod. Okay. Performing a round piece is open die arrangement. A rough shape is forming using a block die. The finished die is used bring the part to the final tolerance and surface finish. Remove a of flesh, string knuckle, rail, flange. This is part of forging. String knuckle, rail and flange. Closed die designing. Usually deformation is closed die forging is very complex and the design of intermediate step to make a final precision of part required considerable expensive and skill. The design of part for production by closed die forging involves the predication of workpiece volume and weight, the number of performing steps and their configuration flash dimension for performing and finishing dies, the load and energy requirement for each forging operation. For example, the flow state of the materials, the frictional condition, the flow of the materials in order to develop the optimum geometry for the dies. Shape and classification. There are different types of shape. Elementary, rotational substrate, and union subdiary element shape, beat, piece, more shape classification of design we study in next module.